No.
If you have not become a patron of the Geocache Talk Network, what are you waiting for? Patron levels start as low as a Bison Tube level at $3 a month. To sign up is easy. Simply go to the Geocache Talk website and click on the Become a Patron button, or go to patreon.com/Geocache Talk. Patrons now get the famous Blackout Coin, invites to special events, and other really great items throughout the year. Become a patron today. Have you subscribed to FTF Magazine yet? FTF Magazine is the #1 geocaching magazine available. It is a quarterly magazine that you can be part of. Submit your geocaching milestones and adventures to be published. FTF Magazine is also interactive with puzzles to solve and the hunt to find Spartacus. If you can solve the puzzle or find Spartacus, then you will be entered in to win a special pack tag. Every new subscription, you will receive a special swag pack. Subscribing is easy. Just visit FTF's website, ftfgeo.com. Don't miss out and subscribe today.
Well, hey, everyone. Time for Puzzle Talk, the geocaching puzzle podcast brought to you by the Geocache Talk Network. Here are your hosts, Charles Watkins and Tom Brotherman, and our special guest, Jason Fox. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Hello.
Our first guest ever.
It is our first
That's
guest.
awesome.
Your first, your FTV
I'll take it.
first visit.
First visit, I'll take that.
Something like that. Oh, well. Lots to cover tonight, so we're going to jump right in to this.
All right, we're going to try and get quickly to the meat and potatoes tonight. So we're going to quickly get through the other sides that are unimportant. All right, maybe less important, but still part of the meal. So
Newsy items, yep.
puzzle coins, we still have a couple in the store. So if you'd like to get a Puzzle Talk coin, quickly go over to geocachetalk.com and click on the store tab, or you can go directly to the store's link, chromiaprint.com/collections/geocaching. You can get all of your Puzzle Talk merch there. You can get the Plain Old Sunday show, you can get Gadget Talk, Challenge Talk, Geocaching with Kids, the whole gambit. If it is part of the Geocache Talk Network, we've got gear on the website for you. All right. Patron party on 8/24. Gary, what are we doing on the patron party?
There's the Chromia print, by the way. Sorry about that. I was trying to click on the right button. We are, let me look down here. So what we're doing, Charles, is we're going to be doing 2 games probably. One is a new one. I want to see that one. Secret. But we are going to probably play Murder at the Hotel again because that's a fun
And that's such a fun game.
It is.
So if you are a patron, we encourage you to be here on 8/24. I'm sure there's an email that goes out to all of you patrons to remind y'all about that.
Yes.
Also,
link. Yep.
Yes. Also today, if you didn't notice, in your email inbox, Groundspeak headquarters has announced a date for the 20th anniversary celebration, which is the 22nd year celebration.
Don't ask questions.
That's right.
Accept it.
You just need to know that you need to be in Seattle the weekend of August 20th, 2022 at the Seattle Center for the big shindig. Look, this thing has been postponed for 2 years, so you just know that they're going to do something to just hit a home run and knock this thing out of the park. So if you don't have plans next August, you should now. August 20th, 2022 in Seattle.
Yes, Tom.
Yes, and if you're going Geo Woodstock, they switched it. So instead of being the week,
Yes.
The week after, it is the week
the week
before.
before.
So stuff for Geo Woodstock in Canada starts that Thursday before, which I believe is the 13th, and runs that Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then the next weekend on Saturday, the 20th, is the headquarters celebration. So if you if Canada lets us all in, then we will be there for that as well. So just know that your 40 hours of vacation time or whatever you have allotted for the year needs to be saved for early to mid-August 2022 in the the greater North Pacific Northwest. All right.
And if you don't have enough vacation, I'll write you a note for your sick leave that you had anal glaucoma.
That's right.
You can't see your butt at work.
That's it. Going into work.
All right. So with that, the new geocaching souvenirs trucking right along. Make sure that you go and check out the leaderboard. We're roughly halfway through with this first month's. The leaderboard resets September 6th, right? So if you haven't made it to the Puncak Jaya base camp, don't worry, you have time. And if you haven't made it to the summit yet, don't worry. There's still plenty of time. Get in there, get you some geocaches. All geocaches count for points.
Yep.
Some more than others this month. It's going to be interesting to see where we fall at next month as the leaderboard resets and geocaches become worth a different amount of points. So stay tuned. But if you're in the live show, give us in the chat room which type of cache you think is going to be worth the most amount of points in next month's challenge.
Yeah.
And don't be cheating logging archive caches.
There you go.
There's nothing wrong with it.
We had the archive hunter on. He said you can do that.
That's right. Absolutely. 100%. All right. And so it looks like that is it for the news.
Well, what about the breaking news from this past Sunday? Oh, we don't care because we were just those puzzle boys. We don't care about that.
Yeah.
They couldn't even
Boy,
mention it.
talk about.
I had it in here. Somebody either moved it or deleted it because I had it all down in here.
Did I move it? I'm sorry. You moved it to the bottom.
That's because I was you do it last because was if you missed this, but now it's not even in the show notes.
I'm so sorry. I'll add it now.
Way to go, guy.
So while you're doing that, while you're adding that, yes, Cache Fest. Very excited for Cache Fest. So Worldwide Cache Fest is July 16th next year. Kind of works perfectly, doesn't it? Timing wise,
Yes, it works out real good. July 16th, 2022 in Memphis, Tennessee. We're going to have Worldwide Cache Fest. We hope that all of you will be able to make it, as many as possible. We're excited to be hosting for the virtual show that we did.
Yes, the Worldwide Cache Con.
Worldwide Cache Con was amazing.
Virtual.
We had so many people reach out to us that we decided that somehow we needed to do an in-person event. This is a branch off of that, and we hope that everybody that's able to attend can attend and be part of Worldwide Cache Fest in Memphis, Tennessee.
Come to Memphis, eat some barbecue, go check out Graceland. And I know that the Puzzle Boys, which is Tom and Charles, I'll put your names out there on the website so that you two.
Yeah, now that we've said something.
Yeah, you hear that?
So that you two are not, because they were joking before the show that they were like, well, you said Puzzle Boys, it could be anybody. It's like, that's right. We could make it anybody. It doesn't have to be these two clowns. No, we wouldn't do that. You guys are the Puzzle Boys, but yep. Thanks, Adam.
The answer to that is yes and yes.
Yes and yes.
The first time that I was a guest on the show and on the Sunday show before Puzzle Talk I was doing a show on county caching
Yep.
with Nate from Tennessee, and so Super Nate, if you're watching, what's happening?
Shout out to Super Nate.
But we got to like Thursday and hadn't added anything to the notes, and Tom sent us a message, and I was like, "We're just gonna wing it." He's like, "Not on my show, you're not."
That's right.
So we do have a rough sketch.
Yes.
We call them show notes. There's a rough sketch of what's going to happen tonight and whatnot. So jumping right into the meat and potatoes of it, tonight's tools that you're going to need is cachesleuth.com.
I'm going to put that
right.
in
It is
the show
.com,
notes.
right?
It is.
Yeah, it is .com. It is in the show notes. We'll add a banner going across the bottom of it here in a moment.
Right now.
But this is a phenomenal tool for puzzles and is a great database in which to help you solve some puzzles or to put a little bug in your ear on where to get started. And we've got the man with the plan right here,
Howdy.
who put all of this together. So, Jason, welcome to the show, sir.
Hi, everyone.
So, Jason, let's start, I guess, with how in the world you get started with geocaching, because that's always a fascinating story why people got started.
That is. So I had a coworker of mine. We all went to lunch regularly, and he decided he originally got into it a long time ago, and he was starting to do it again. So he invited several of us to come out, and he took us to probably one of my favorite now geocaches. That was right near my work, and
That's
he
cool.
just sat there and watched us fumble and go crazy, going, "Where is this thing?" And after about 10 minutes, he walked over and bloop, there it is, right in his hand, and it blew my mind. Absolutely phenomenal. So. When we got back to work, I was like, "Man, you got to tell me more about this. Like, this is really, really neat." And I jumped in.
Cool. That's awesome. Yeah. Amazing. Because for some people, the first cache can be kind of a, Jesse always tells a story. The first one they did was a lamppost skirt. They didn't catch again for 2 years or something like that. So
Right.
it could be a bummer for some.
I guess so. I mean, my first one was the virtual cache at Cadillac Ranch.
Wow. See, that's a great one to start.
That's a good one.
Kind of cool.
Yeah, that's a good one to start.
So we kind of were hooked from the get-go. So, all right. So you got started by happenstance from a coworker.
Yes.
And roughly, where are you based out of?
I am in Oklahoma.
All right, so
Yeah.
middle of Oklahoma,
Yep.
give or take the
let's just go
greater
OKC.
Oklahoma, the Oklahoma City area. So when people see some of the stuff that we're gonna see tonight and solve some of these puzzles, just know that you need to stop in the greater Oklahoma City area to find some of them. So in your cross country road trips, this needs to be a destination, just like some other places that we have mentioned on the show needs to be. So some great puzzles, great games that are being done in your area.
Thank you.
And it doesn't look like you have, looking at your profile, it doesn't look like you've been playing for very long. When did you get started in geocaching?
2015. So 5 years.
5
So
years.
that's
cool.
not too bad.
No, not bad at all. Very cool.
Yeah.
So what kind of led you? Let's start first with puzzles. How did you kind of, was it Tom's FTF magazine things, or was it actually like good puzzles that you got interested in?
Well, so So
Just
honestly,
kidding.
the city that I live in, we have people that came before me had put out some really fantastic puzzles. He left.
No, Tom, no. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. So basically, I once I got started, my very first cache I put out was a puzzle. Probably a month or
that's
so
awesome.
after I began. It was a pretty simple little Breaking Bad puzzle, which was kind of fun. But once I kind of got in and realized that you could hide coordinates in a bunch of different ways, I was kind of hooked, honestly. And I've put out a ton of puzzles.
Yeah,
in my whole
213.
area.
Two-
Yeah, that's a lot of puzzles.
213 of them.
Yes.
Actually,
To the
it's,
dismay of the locals. No.
it's really more than that, right, Jason? Because I mean, the
Yeah.
puzzle you helped me with is really yours. I just put it out in our local area. So, how many people do you think you've kind of helped with puzzles? You think rough amount?
As far as like putting out new one or putting out in different
yeah, or
areas.
just kind of helped them with the getting them going.
I honestly, I love to have people find my puzzles, so I'm willing to chat and talk and help anyone walk through them. Because this is all everyone's personal experience, right? Like some people just want coordinates, and some people they want to walk the trenches to get to the final. So I try to help however I can.
Yep.
And don't just Gary, don't tell Jesse, but he's got 16 Earth caches published also.
Oh, there you go,
That's,
man.
that's for another show, but that's
for another show.
Yeah,
don't let Memphis.
that's for another show.
That's cool though. Yeah. So, what is it about? I know this is hard to do, but I'm going to ask it anyway. What is it about puzzles that draws you to puzzle caches? What is it?
Well,
is there something about it that stands out?
Yeah. Each person, like I said, is their own experience. So some people just want skirt lifters. Some people, want something that's a little bit extra. For me, it's about the experience. So I want to put out something myself that is maybe a little bit more to it, and
Right.
I like to find them that are that way, where people have put effort into, because this whole game is, what we put into it, right?
Yeah.
Like it's what you get out of it. And so for me, that's the main reason why I love puzzles. And that's kind of why I built the site for that reason.
Yeah. The site is something that Tom has spent a lot of time on.
Yeah.
Is that true, Tom? You played a lot of these games.
Yeah.
Which is cool. What is it about the? And I've got the list here, or I got one of your.
You've got a portion of
his list.
Yeah, we've got a bookmark list that you created, Jason. A public bookmark list of 30 caches, but you have more games out there than just this, because I played a T-Rex game and found a puzzle in Mingo, Kansas.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
So you've got more than just this 30 out there. But tell us about this, the Let's Play a Games series that you have here.
Yeah. Well, so it's, again, very much that same where like I wanted to do something a little extra, and there's not a lot of people that were trying to put out games. So mostly what I'd done is gone out and looked for like open source, on like GitHub, and or if someone else has placed a puzzle themselves, I'll reach out to them, and sometimes I'll reach out and like say, hey, I think this is awesome. Let me, is there a way I might be able to put it out in my area? And, people are very generous. I found. And so yeah, a lot of these are ones where I've, downloaded the source code, worked my way through, trying to figure out what makes it run, how do you get to, a certain point that I would want to say, hey, once you've reached this point, here's some coordinates, or, you've achieved something.
Right.
So,
right. Very cool. Yeah, I love it. A lot of different games in that list too is really cool. I like that fact that it's not just the same game over and over again in a big list.
Yeah.
You've actually they're all kind of different. So,
yeah.
We'll talk a little bit too about. We're gonna mostly spend time on the website because Cache Sleuth is a pretty amazing website. But
Thank you.
We were talking prior to the show. Charles was talking about how, what are some of the inner workings, the bones of some of this, and there's there's some notes about GitHub. GitHub is sort of an open source video game. Well, it's a lot of stuff, but I know there's
like a repository for different code.
Okay, cool. So
out there.
There's some things out there that you can go investigate, but you kind of have to do a little extra work that some people are just going to have to either find a friend that can do it, but it's a lot of JavaScript. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's my main code that I have learned and write in. So yeah, it's most of these are just JavaScript based, and it depend upon if you know where to look. You might be able to find coordinates in there, or they might be hidden somewhere different. But that's also part of the fun, is trying to hide them from the lurkers.
Yes. Well, I love the idea we talked about before, where you just give them a code word, and then the code word will take you to go to Certitude, put the code word in, and then you get the coordinates. That way, the coordinates are hidden, like really hidden. So
yes, exactly. And there's different ways you can encrypt coordinates or encrypt a phrase somewhere that's in there. So.
Jeff was asking about, I was wondering how much of the website is custom coded. We're talking about cachesleuth.com now, not GitHub. How much of the website is custom coded versus import coded?
It's me. I'm writing it.
Right. Hire a teenager. Yeah, that's funny.
All over the place.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So I guess let's get into the website a little bit.
Okay.
I guess, and Charles, you got those screens, so I'm gonna let you drive. Let me stop.
You have the controls.
I think I stopped my screen, so I'll let you control that.
Jesus, take the wheel.
That's right. Go for it, buddy.
All right. So in your website, you have a code table that's got 194 different codes in it. Tell us a little bit about how did you come across these 194 different codes and get them all compiled into, because I know that Gary was looking for a very specific code and did a lot of Pinterest searching and Geocaching Toolbox and all of these other websites and could not find it, but miraculously somehow found it on your website. So you've got stuff on here that nobody else does.
Other people don't have.
And where did you come up with all of this stuff and be able to compile it all here for us? Like some of this stuff is just got to be just some obscure coding that, but 194 different codes. Tell us about that.
So just, like Gary was saying, there's different things out there like Pinterest, where people have put out different alphabets. And that's really, most of those they're alphabets that people have created. And I'll find images or like one big image that shows them all. There's Omniglot, which is a website that has tons and tons and tons, but mostly I'm putting them in Photoshop. I'm editing images, trying to get them to certain sizes, certain looks, trying to get the highest quality that I can. And, it's kind of as I run across them, I'll save them in. I'm like, hey, that looks interesting. Or I'm working a puzzle and I'm like, hey, that looks like something I can try and work on. So,
That's awesome.
So it's taken a while to build those pages up.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to talk about a section of this, the code tables, because we were talking about this prior to the show. And I'm going to share my screen here in just a second. But if you go to cachesleuth.com, and it's about halfway down the page on the left-hand side in the blue side taskbar, there is a section that says code tables, and it has a little arrow off to it. So if our people watching live want to go there and click on that, you can kind of follow along. We're going to share a screen so you guys can see what's going on. But for our audio listeners, you'll go to cachesleuth.com. And then down on the left-hand side is a tab that says code tables. And that's what I'm going to share now. So when you go to the code table, you can, if you've got, and we've had this question a lot, I've got no idea where to start with this code. Where do I start? You've got an ingenious tool built into this thing to where we can just type in just kind of whatever.
Yeah.
And then look for
hit start. It takes off.
And then it just runs through this, and it's trying to match the gibberish that I just typed into the search box at the top. But how did this come about? Because this, I think, is ingenious, because if somebody has something where you can copy and paste off of a cache page and they don't insert an image, like if you can copy and paste something off of a website that you're like, I have no idea where to even begin, you can type it into this and it's going to spit something out for you, which is like, how did you come up with this?
Well, so every one of those are single images, right? And I've got them in folders, and I was like, I had just one big page where I was displaying them. You click and then, go look at those individuals. But I thought, this would be kind of awesome. So, when you're facing codes or puzzles, things like that, you don't know where to begin. And I was hearing feedback from people that was saying, it's great that you have so many of these codes, but I don't, I have to click on 190 different ones to try and find the single one. So I was like, whoa, what if I could make them all into one single thing? So as you type at the top, it's going through and looking for each of those different codes and attempting to show you the image that matches that letter or number or character that you're looking for. And I am hiding the ones that aren't displaying. And then if, like, for example, Japanese numerals, right, it's just numbers, but if you typed in letters, it's just going to hide that completely. So you're not now seeing, wasted space or, various things like that. So, it's something I'm continuously working on, but this here, I think is really honestly neat from a puzzle solving aspect.
Sure. Yeah, the idea, that's an interesting idea, is not just using numbers, but using, because you can use numbers and not just give straight coordinates. You could use numbers and come up with a way to, make combinations of numbers to get you to a corner or whatever. So yeah, there's like you said, there's certain tools that are out there that you've built in that could use just numbers.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and you can type numbers at the top, or you could, like, let's say, click on that Indiana Jones, for example. It'll take you off to that page, and I copy the text that you've written in at the top and open and go ahead and translate on that other page,
That's awesome.
specifically. So you're like, you know what? So like, let's say you're wanting to create one and you're like, oh, here's my coordinates. I've typed these in. Let me scroll through. This one looks kind of neat. You could click one again and customize it on the other page if you were wanting to use it to create coordinates or a puzzle from.
Right. That's
so,
awesome.
Yeah.
So this is it brought it up in a separate screen, but here's your Indiana Jones text and the letters that I put in, and then this is the output in the bottom. This output right here is what is in the box here.
Yes. You can click that plus sign next to the image size there, and or decrease it, so you can kind of change. Or you can also click on that little choose a translation there, and if you wanted to switch to a different one from there, you could do that and hit translate, and it'll take off to that other page.
That other page. Aha.
Yeah, it's kind of a neat way to work your way through different ones if you wanted.
Yep.
Yeah, this might be an important code for people attending some crazy puzzle mega outside of Rome, Georgia. What? Where'd it go?
Where'd it go?
You're gonna have to replay the show. No, but you've got that for 190, 200 different texts. So, I can't imagine the intensive man-hour labor hours that you have built into this just in copy.
That one tool.
Just in this one section of your website.
Let alone all the other sections.
It's been a couple of years. It's a labor of love, right? Like it's a way of giving back to the community, that has given to me.
Awesome.
So it's just why I work it,
Yeah. I think the ingenious stuff, Charles is going to bring up some more, but is some of the automation that you've put into it. So the thing that really impresses me that you've really worked hard on is just like the multi-decoder. To me, that is genius. That
Thank you.
I get lost just watching it go through all these. You put in what appears to be gibberish letters and hit it, and you go, it goes, well, let me go check. I'll check all the routes for you. I'll go check, this, and it just starts going through the list of possibilities, and so it just you hit solve, and it just goes boop 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 boop, goes right through all the list, and that's impressive.
So on this one, I had a couple of months. I've been working on this one for a couple of months, but the tools I had, kind of been built up over time. But I thought, people again are approaching this gibberish, and they're like, I don't even know where to begin. And so the idea was born from, maybe this is a springboard. Let's start here. Put something in. Hit solve, and let's scroll down through and see what comes. Up.
Sure. I like it. And even if you only got a piece of something, as you go through it, you might go, "Ooh, wait a minute, that looks like something legible. Let me go ahead and I can then laser focus into that and then go down that." That's really cool.
What our live listeners can't see is that right here in this where it says see example and it has a drop down. So like I can click on this drop down, but it doesn't show up on y'all's side, but it has Caesar/Rot, Visionaire Standard, Visionaire Custom Alphabet, Visionaire Automatic Solve, Bacon Standard, Bacon Distinct with, how do you say that?
Obfuscated.
Obfuscated letters.
Obfuscated, yeah.
Good Lord. Morse normal, Morse reversed, ADF GX, Sictil syllables, tap code numbers, tap code pattern, and vanity. So like you've got all of these tools, all of this.
That's just examples.
Yeah, those are just examples.
Yeah, those are just the
use it.
Right, but you've got all of this built in so that somebody could take their stuff, copy and paste it into this, and hit solve and go.
Digital root, double
Absolutely.
transposition. I mean, there's how many, Foursquare, Goldbug,
Yeah, there's a lot.
Kenny. I never heard of Kenny, but you know what?
Oh,
I know now.
I've solved a few puzzles with Kenny.
Have you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
South Park.
The Kenny code consists of a group of 3 letters in a combination of M, F, and P.
Yeah, I guess as you scroll down and you got them all here in alphabetical order, like this is just
There's a lot.
It's
There
a
is.
lot. There's a lot for one person to sit there and turn around and build. But I mean, this is a tool that if you are a puzzle like if you are into puzzle caches or want to get into puzzle caches, but like this needs to be one of your bookmarked websites, along with some of the others that we use. But this thing is fixing to become my go-to website for
That's cool, man.
puzzle solving. If I look at it and I'm like, it's Greek and I don't get it.
Right.
But I mean, you go here like duck speak, like what is duck speak?
It's awesome though.
I found that one.
What's the
more
thing they go
German.
quack, quack, quack with?
Yeah.
Quack, quack, quack. Duh.
Don't pull out some Howard the Duck stuff.
But what's the beauty? Of course, the beauty of the also about the multi-solver is you don't have to go through these individually. You just go to the top, put your code in, hit go, and it'll go through all of them.
Right.
Yeah.
It'll just start rolling, and it take a while, and just takes time, and it'll slowly work its way through all the different ones. And then if you need to, you can like go back to a certain section. Like I love going that you can check the rots all in one little spot. Now, like you said before the show, it'll list them all. True.
Yeah.
But if you want to do it kind of in I wouldn't say a hurry, but if you just want to look at it on one screen, you can go to the rotations, put your code in, and just hit the button to the side of it. Bam, 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 bam. And it'll go through all the rotations real quick. So you can check it pretty fast and say, okay, I just checked all the
one of those.
Yeah, I could check all the rots and immediately know that it's not a rot cipher because
Right.
I can click on everyone real fast and I can watch that screen and watch every one of those roll through and notice that none of them make any sense. So I know that it's not. It
So
might be an
one thing with
offset or
that-
something else. Go ahead.
Oh, so in that rot, so like you said, I have a button where you could click and just show them all. But what it attempts to do is kind of break it down into letter frequencies to see which one is, more. Oh, that's most likely an E. That one's an R.
Right.
And it attempts to auto solve the rot cipher for you.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
But if it's wrong, again, like you said, you can either click through the variety of them, or you could see them all. But same thing for the Visioneer below it. There is a it's also doing the same thing, trying to break it down by letter frequency. So, like if you don't know the code, for example, the whatever keyword it was encoded with, it will attempt to try and find it for you as well. But of course, if you've got one, you'd put that in like that key alphabet number 1 position, and then try to do that from there. But those work better when you have longer text. Obviously,
Yes.
so there's more letters to find the correct frequency off of. But
Right.
I find them working pretty well. From what I've seen. Now, as long as people aren't like, throwing in like some gibberish, in the middle of it, where
Sure.
it maybe has a hard time finding those frequencies, but
Yeah.
there's always a way around it.
Sure. Yeah. And, some of the harder puzzles, they'll do that, right? They'll throw in just gibberish to try to throw you off the scent so you don't get comfortable with their code. They want you to, really break it. I think that, the Beal cipher that people talk about, which I don't think is a real treasure, but when the guy put it together, The first part of it makes perfect sense. It's an Offendorf. Second part makes absolutely no sense. So that's the way the guy put it together. So.
Well, so a couple of these things. So, are you saying the examples aren't working from the screen? It is able to display.
They are.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
No, everything on my end. I'm just sitting here not typing anything in it. So.
Oh, okay.
We'll do that real quick to help us out.
Part of
Dan was asking about Python. Is there some Python on the back end you're working on? Nope.
No, everything's just JavaScript.
For JavaScript. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So a lot of those will require a code word or a certain alphabet. Maybe somebody, scrambled the alphabet. I'm trying to make that as easy to use as possible.
Sure.
So let's say, you typed in, they made the keyword password at the beginning. Well, in an alphabet, you can't have double letters in there, right? So one of the S's would be removed, so on and so forth. So I automatically create that alphabet in the background for you, so you're not having to type out the whole thing on your own. Or so that you were talking about that Kenny code, for example, it has 3 different M, P, and H, I believe.
Right.
Or F, no, MP and F.
MP and F, yeah.
But somebody may have used that same pattern, but switched up the letters. So maybe they put an R, J, and an X, in that thing. And so when you see it, you go, I have no idea what this is, and there's no way I can figure this out. But at the top of that page, if you go in and put those letters in the alphabet 1, 2, and 3, and paste the code at the top, you're basically telling it, hey, look for these in that pattern instead. And it can still try to find them, which is really neat.
That is cool. And we're just talking about one part. We're going to talk about some other parts too, because there's some other incredible tools, but I'm going to let Charles decide on all that. But I'm excited about the whole. I'm excited about the whole site.
I'm just clicking buttons on my side. So
yeah, baby, it's awesome. The first part of the website is pretty standard, but there's some stuff in there that you've thrown in, some Project GC links, souvenirs. So somebody could put in their caching name, and then the first part of the website is really for that, right?
Yeah, you're talking about the geocaching info section.
Yeah, that whole section.
Geocaching quick search.
Quick search, the quick links, yeah, because you've got the geocaching home, your caches, your trackables, your lists, your friends.
Oh, you're talking about on the little menu on the left side there.
Yeah,
gotcha. Right. So the idea on that, I went through the geocaching website and it's like, okay, what are these links? Let me, what's a quick way of getting to them? So that's kind of just how I built that up.
I like that though. That's pretty slick.
The idea was I wanted to go to one place and be able to do almost all the things that I wanted to do without having to go a bunch of different places, or trying to remember, or, I had a bookmark in Chrome bookmark folder and had 150 different bookmarks and, trying to remember which each one was. I was like, man, I could do this on my own.
Yeah, put it in one spot.
So I was like, I just built it. I'm like, this is what I want to do. On my site. So
yeah, that's perfect. Put them all right there. I can just click right. I can go to the Cache Sleuth, check my trackables. I can check my caches. I can, I can look at my, inventory of that, or I can look at lists. I can view leaderboard. I can, all that kind of stuff. That's pretty slick. I like the fact that you put all that there.
Thank you. So that part is on the main part right up there. If you scroll up, so under that geocaching quick search, so this is kind of neat. You can put in the GC number, right, and you can either click that little magnifying glass to the right, it'll take you right to that, or you can go ahead and on the little drop down right below it, where it says found, you can change your log type to a different one, and then click that log GC number right to the left of it. So what that can do is, let's say you are geocaching, like my kids are not premium members, right? And we will go out and cache together, and in order for them to log some of those caches that, as long as you can get to that page, geocaching hasn't shut that down, that loophole. But this is one really fast way that they can just type that GC number in and click that log GC number as, and it'll take you right to the log page. And that's kind of fun. Username, same thing. You can type if you know someone's caching name, you can go right to their about page, or you can go right to the geocaches they've hidden or galleries, any of those straight from there.
Sure.
And then, so that same thing for that, like keyword right below it. Same thing. Like if you're like, oh, hey, there's a geocache that's named, Infernal, and I can't, remember what it is. You can type it in, click that button. It'll take you to do the keyword search for you, like right away.
So if you're looking for like whatever, caches based on, say, Star Trek or Star Wars or the Goonies, or you just got to type in something in this keyword, hit the magnifying glass over here to the right-hand side, and it's going to search geocaching.com for every cache that hits in that keyword.
Right. Matches you straight to the search. Yeah. It's basically as if you were going to the thing, hitting the, play, search, filters, let me go down, scroll to the other part. Okay, keyword, save, or you just type it in here and it takes you right to the thing. That was kind of the idea, was let me just get some really quick links to the things that I want. The one thing right below it, do you see where it says type the state, province, or country?
Right.
So right here, you could do, I built this part to do for like first to find searches, or search recently geocache, recent published ones near you. So you can either type something in, so like type a state, a country. So it's what this is doing is based on the main thing, right? So you say Arizona, so you can do that, and you can click that first to find search, and it will open up a search for that location, and it will reverse order the found date. And so it'll display the unfound ones right at the top. So then if you're looking for first to finds wherever you're going, if it's your local state, or let's say you're traveling, you could just, type that in and find where you're at and look at them on a map if you wanted.
Dang, there's 43,724 caches in Arizona that haven't been found. What in the world, Charles, are you not doing? What are you doing here, Charles? You should be out caching, man. Go ahead. What's it?
Scroll down just a little bit. So do you see where the last found column is blank? So those are all unfound, right?
Correct.
And then when you go down a little bit further, it'll start showing the oldest unfound, or oldest ones that were found. So now you're talking ones that see 2010.
Were last found in 2010. So these are lonely caches now.
Lonely caches.
Right. Hey, look at this event right here. Let's see if we can.
What event is that?
Has
no fines on it.
Yeah, this one right here, A Little Taste of Texas. That's going to be a pretty good community celebration event if you were in the Greater Paradise Valley, North Phoenix area. On the 27th of August.
Who's the owner of that?
Just gonna throw that out there.
Pathfinder 30. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, it's that guy.
Pass. Hard pass.
Hard pass.
Oh, man.
Rough. It's a rough crowd.
Yes, it is. But man, there's some. I mean, if you sit here and look at this, there are a couple of events, but some traditionals. A couple of multis are in here. Letterbox hybrid. There are a couple of puzzle caches. I mean, this is a cool tool. Now, can you narrow it down any further than just the state?
So this is just Geocache's default part. So however they
Okay.
have the ability to do a search for, that's what this is. So all I'm doing is plugging in the keywords in the URL, and their site is doing their own thing. So I don't have access to any of theirs. Yeah, I just figured out how they are doing their code, their URLs and stuff. So
I put the code in the chat room in case people want to crash that party and make a scene.
One other, you don't have to click on it because I don't want it to show your location, but right below where it was showing first to find search, there's another search recently published. What that will do is use if you type in a location, it will use your device's let's say you gave browser permission for geolocation, it will use your coordinates and then start searching from closest to where you are and out, just different ones that have been published recently in your area, kind of within 50 miles, I think is kind of how I have it set up. Yeah, so, if you like to go on the weekends and go grab all the new puzzles or new, traditionals that published that week, it's an easy way to kind of see what was recently put out.
Yep.
In your area. So
love it.
That's a cool, handy tool.
Yep. It's all right there.
Thanks.
So where are we going to head next? I like
coordinates, probably. I don't know.
Yeah, I love the map tools. I got lost the other day looking through them because I was fascinated. Not lost in a bad way. You know how we get lost in a book, a good book. I got lost in the map tools section because I was fascinated by things I never thought of that be make for great puzzles, like centers of triangles and 3 circle intersects. And I know Charles was saying you just did a whole bunch of multi-caches. Did you say, Charles? There were circles.
Yeah, because this month's cache type with the most that has the highest point value was multi-caches at 600 points a multi-cache for the souvenir challenge. I found a park here in town that had 6 multi-caches in it, and you had to go to the park and get coordinates off of lamp poles. All of the lamp poles in the park have a number spray painted on them, so you can call the city and say, hey, pole number 27, the lights aren't working, yada yada. They can sit there and then look at what are the specs for pole 27, because they each have a different type of LED light at the top of them, and so then they can show up with a replacement LED panel for it, and not have to be like, go out there, look at it, go back to the shop, right? So each one of those poles had different coordinates on it, or you had to know the coordinates of the different poles. So you had to actually visit the park to get coordinates for it. But once I did that, I came back home and plugged in intersection of 2 lines, because it said from pole number this and pole number that, go this many degrees and this many degrees, and where those lines intersect is where the cache is at. And so this has that where you can do like intersections of lines, intersections of circles, intersections of 3 circles, because obviously if you have a circle intersect with another circle, you could have 2 possible solutions, right?
Yes.
Because as a circle overlaps, you'll have an overlap here and an overlap there. So if you have a 3rd circle, now you've limited it to just one of those. So being able to use that tool, I used a different website that had that tool on it, but knowing that this website has all of that stuff on it, like I said earlier, is probably going to replace my other go-to website, because this one has all of the same stuff and then a little more. Yeah, I mean, because you've got geocaching.com's map, Google Maps, Google Street View, a What 3 Words map, Bing map, a MapQuest map, the OpenStreet map, the OpenCycle map, the MyTopo maps. all
Yeah.
in the all. I mean, there.
But wait,
if you go
there's
and
more.
look on, yeah, because then he has nearby waymarks.
But
so
wait.
it's linked to waymarking and benchmarks
Oh man,
that are
that's
at least
incredible.
published on the geocaching.com website, because not every
Right.
USGS benchmark made it over in the data swap. So
Yep.
don't be mad when there's not a benchmark that you can't log, but it is a USGS. It just didn't get it pulled in the data
Put in.
pool that they did
Yep.
years ago that they haven't updated since.
There's a intersection of a line and circle. That's kind of cool. That's,
Well,
getting
and I'll tell
creative.
you that is one that was at this park that the other website I used did not have available to it.
Oh wow.
And so what I ended up having to do was get a screenshot with a circle, and then get a screenshot with the straight line, and then overlay them in,
Nice.
and then make one opaque so you could see through it to where, and then I did it with a satellite map, and then said, oh, well, that line crosses a circle at this bush on the map. And so I went back and marked it. But,
Nice.
with this, having that tool built into it, it would have been so much easier for
I know, right?
that one multicast.
Save you time, Betty.
Well, you got creative though. That was good.
I mean, you kind of had to do what you had to do.
That's crazy. That's great. Though.
But there's, this is when you go to the homepage and just scroll down, because it's got the coordinate converter and map links. There are all of the different map links right there in the middle of the screen, and whatnot. It's
especially for newbies. I know one thing too. I know you guys probably run into this, but to explain to somebody that, well, I keep trying to use these coordinates, and the reviewer keeps saying I'm like really off on the page, and I don't understand. I went here and got coordinates that they don't work, and it's like, oh, go to Cache Sleuth, go to Cache Placement Helper, and there's a tool. There's a tool for that.
Yeah.
Like there's an app for that. There's an app for that. There's a tool out there that is so helpful, because we've all been there, especially if we're new. I mean, it's like, well, I don't understand how do degrees and minutes and how does that all work, and I don't understand how I'm getting the wrong information to the reviewers. So
yeah, and you like to double check your coordinates on a sat map, obviously. So that tool is fun because you can just drag the little arrow right to the bush, instead. So,
yes,
that is really cool.
So this is that intersection of a line and a circle. So
that was one. Yeah, that's cool.
But when you come over here and you click on this map tools, there's a drop down that comes down. So you've got coordinate converters, distance and midpoint calculation, projection calculation, incomplete chords. What are incomplete chords?
So let's say that you are trying to solve a puzzle, and you've got let's say almost all of them, but maybe you're missing just a couple of them on there. So what that would do is you type that in what you have, and then you add, like, let's say a question mark or a variable like A, B, C in the ones that you don't have. And what it will do is display all of those. It will go through and loop through and display all those on a map, so you can go ahead and see what it is that's on there. And then you could go down and narrow it down after the fact. So this is in that decimal, degree decimal minute format, which is the geocaching format. So let's put like a question mark, letter A, whatever, and then another number. Doesn't matter. Yeah, and then hit show. And so what that will do is, if you go down, it'll drop all of those on a map, and you can click on each one. You can change that off to a satellite view. So like you can click on one of those, and it will tell you, yeah. So right, you can copy. You can use that little copy button next to it to copy that coordinates.
Yes.
Or so if you look up just a little bit where it says limit option question mark example 158. So let's say you know that it's it can be 1, 2, or a 6, and you're just not real sure. You can type that in, and it will narrow those down to just those, which is kind of fun. And so right above that as well, there's a list coordinates button. Just there on the right, kind of at the top on the right.
Yes.
And what that will do is that'll just go ahead and display all of them, at once. So if it's easier to view it that way.
Sure.
So yeah, and there's a custom marker down there at the bottom. So what you do on that, you can click that, and then it'll show a little green. And you can drag that around, and it'll kind of just update for you. So I've got all that on the maps. On all the maps, I've added that little custom marker. It's kind of fun, So like, let's say that intersection of 3 circles or intersection of 2 circles, it got real close, but maybe it wasn't quite right. Maybe whoever created it wasn't, was slightly off, or they did the best they could, but you can click that custom marker and drag it to, what looks like the obvious host, or, what maybe let's say it intersected in more than one spot,
right.
You can drag that around and look for the right spot if you wanted. So.
Right. And these coordinates here update as you move your little green spot. These coordinates right here update.
Yeah.
When you move the green one. I like that.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
Man, that's helpful.
Taking my puzzle cache and solving to a whole new level now. It's on like Donkey Kong.
It's on now.
So Dee posted up a few minutes ago that I was being too quiet. So
Yes.
I'm going to ask the question because I had kind of this thing. So I know the Whovian thing's on there, but this is, I guess there's 2 questions.
Eric's asking about that.
The Gallifreyan thing, you had the creator on there. But
yeah.
Can we reverse that and go the other direction?
I do not have a solver for it, but I do have. I do link off to the PDF of how to solve it, so you can at least walk through examples and work your way through how to do it. But I don't have a way to reverse it that I know of.
So you told them which Reddit page to go to? Because that's how I do it. I found a Reddit page and I post stuff up there and have other people solve it for me.
Oh, that's smart. That is smart. Yeah. I have a puzzle I created with that same thing, the Gallifreyan, and yeah, it's a tough one.
So sticking with that thing though, I assume this is not okay, I've made it and I'm done. You're going to be working on this thing for forever. So if somebody wanted, yeah, well, yeah, you opened up a can of worms here, and yeah, we're going to the bait store.
Right.
So if somebody wanted to say, hey, can you help me with this and add something like that? How do we go about doing that?
It's helpful to have examples, something along those lines. I definitely can work through. So I will go through and look and see, does this exist anywhere, right? Has anyone done anything like this? And I'll try to look through and see, how does this cipher work, or how does this code work? And then try to work my way back into figuring out how to create a tool for it. Kind of like it's like the draw stickman puzzles. I don't know if you remember those, but
yeah, those are fun.
I
worked my way through how they created it, and then created a solver and created a little creator for it. It's as I run across things, there's a contact button on the bottom of the page.
I was going to point out, Tom,
feel free to message.
First, you got to buy the guy a cup of coffee. Golly, man. I mean, start
He just
there.
didn't know
He, he said he's already got script for that. He said he's got JavaScript.
Well, he does
Yes.
have
There you go.
JavaScript, but
JavaScript.
he's running out, so you need to buy him
he
a
need-
coffee.
He needs a cappuccino script.
So buy him
That's
a cup
funny.
of coffee. It's at the bottom of the screen there. But near there, he's got a shoot me a message. Don't shoot the messenger,
Don't shoot the messenger.
but shoot him a message.
Shoot the ducks.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
duck hunt. But yeah, buy him a cup of coffee first.
Can you use that duck speak thing to translate what the ducks and duck hunt are saying?
I don't think so, but
Are they
it's worth
saying
trying.
something? I guess they
Lot
say
of quacking.
something, but a lot of quacking going on. Whole lot of quacking going
Yeah.
on. All right, back to Charles. We've had enough goofiness.
Shut up, Tom.
No, you're fine, Tom.
No, I'm actually going to punt this to Jason. Jason, what is your favorite part of this website that we haven't touched on just yet? Because I mean, there's a lot
Right.
here, and so it's going to be more than
One show.
more than we can cover in an hour 15-ish show.
Yeah.
So so what is your favorite part of this, and what part of this website do you use the most when trying to solve or create puzzles?
Honestly, so the multi-decoder is a lot of fun. And then, of course, the code tables that kind of display them all. But on the main page, if you go back there, there is under that same coordinate converter and map links, I've kind of created this, where you can type in any number of these coordinates. So let's say it was a what 3 words. So do you see how? Right there, you could copy that. Just kind of highlight, drag, and then go up a little bit above that. Yep. And then, so in this little bit higher up section there, where you would paste it in, it says enter coordinates here. So it's a little bit closer down towards the bottom now. So in that section, you could attempt to put in your coordinates, and I'm parsing through all of these where it will, I'm doing tests against what you've put in to try to say, okay, I think it's this kind of coordinate. Oh, no, I think it's this kind of coordinate. So yeah, if you hit convert off there, what it'll do is go through and display all of these. So it's converting that into all of these different formats. And I have taken a lot of pain to make these as precise as possible. Down to down to a reasonable amount. And so I actually use this a lot personally, and I've created a bookmarklet. Do you know those bookmarklets? What they used to have? So on the far right of the bottom screen, you'll see it says visit bookmarklet section.
Yes.
So on there, what I've done is I've created some little handy bookmarklets that you can throw into your on your toolbar in your browser, and you can highlight like coordinates from a different page, or if you think something looks like coordinates, like so Mingo Madness, for example, there was a GeoArt where they were using what 3 words, right?
Yes.
So on those, I was copying the what 3 words. I click the bookmarklet, it opens my page and automatically translates it right there for you. And just very, very fast. Or was it what 3 words, or was it reverse where I go? I can't remember.
No,
but either way,
what 3
There
words?
there was a what 3 words, but you had to
Yes.
take the city that it put you in. So if it put you in Manhattan, Kansas,
Yes.
then you had to take Manhattan,
Put it
and
in
Manhattan
Yeah.
was the
certitude,
word that you put in
So-
certitude to get the answer.
So scroll down to the bottom of the page where you're at, and I have a map that is displayed at the very bottom. And so all of those were just displaying the city, which, like I said, you can zoom in or zoom out. This is Big Ben up in London, but basically that was like a really fast way, not to ruin anyone's puzzle. But those bookmarklets, I use those all the time. But probably a lot of people, I don't know if they have experience with bookmarklets or not, but it's a really, really handy thing. So
Pretty slick.
Yeah, but that's it. That's kind of a super fun little section I use literally every day.
Bookmarklets. Dan was asking a question about open source GitHub repository. Do you have anything like that?
No, I don't. Everything's just on the page.
Cool.
Sorry.
Gotcha. No problem.
Under miscellaneous. Oh, dadgum, I forgot.
Tom has a question.
Miscellaneous tools, logical solver. Is that a whole other show right there? Just that one tool.
It's a fun one. I did not create that one. There is a person that put that on as an open source, but it is really neat. This one is a lot of fun to. So you can. What's fun about this too? You can.
That's one of Tom's favorite.
Yeah, you can pre-fill in various things and then save the URL at the top, and then you can open this again. So like I have a puzzle that uses this myself, and I go ahead and pre-fill in all of the variables for you. You just click the link and it takes you right there. It's kind of a neat little tool.
I guarantee you I'm going to be playing with this one.
He's going to be up all night.
I think we all are, as much as we are sitting here looking at this and you're like, oh, I can make a puzzle like, people in Phoenix are going to be hating me. And I'm okay with that.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay with them hating you too. But
that's funny.
Yeah, as Dee noticed, I've been awful quiet tonight, and that's because I've been over here on the other computer looking at this stuff. I mean, I'm just every time I go back and look, because I've looked at it a few times during the past week. Every time I go in, I find something else new I didn't see.
That's awesome. Yeah, Tom is never going to sleep again. Well, that happens. As long as Cheryl can get sleep, we're okay. But if Tom doesn't, as long as Cheryl gets sleep, because otherwise, Tom can go without sleep.
Tom goes to bed, and
one dog
Tom goes to bed, and one dog gets on my head, and I got a nose in one ear, and then I got a nose in the other ear, and they start snoring. So no, I don't get sleep. So not for a while.
Pizza Ninja asking about the Swedish chef. I don't know. There's a link out there somewhere.
I'll say, show me. That would be fun.
Buy a cup of coffee and Jason will have it for you. Somebody's asking
a fun little tool.
Jason about asking you about R2D2 language converter. Is there do you know if there's one for that?
I think there was one. I saw one that had, but it used like Java, and a lot of browsers and Java applets, like it just stopped supporting those.
Right.
So I don't know if it's dead in the water or if they have a new version of it. But no, I don't have one written.
Gotcha. Charles has gotten. He's off in his own little world till.
He's playing with it.
Yeah, I mean, I did what Tom did, and I clicked on miscellaneous tools, and I'm like, look, there's this translator and that translator and a DNA translator and and so now I've gone down that same rabbit hole that Tom did where I'm like, oh hey, look, what is this? And so there's a ton of stuff in this, and I can't imagine, like I said, the countless man hours you have just compiling all of this and getting it to all be in one place.
And trying to support them on mobile browsers as much as I can. Like you said, same thing where it's I use my phone constantly, and I know other people do too, especially if you're out in the field or at a mega or something along those lines, and you're running into some puzzles. It's kind of a fun way of doing it. So
absolutely.
Anyway,
no, it's fabulous. Very, very cool, man. Awesome.
I have to wonder though, why the draw a stickman thing? Those are just so much fun. It's like,
I know.
Why do you want to cheat on that one?
Well, so their website stopped working for a while, and like the code was broken, and but there was eventually they got it working again. But people wanted to. I had someone reach out to me and was like, "Hey, have you ever?" I can't get it to work to create them, and I was like, "Well, I think I can work through the code and figure out how they were doing it." So yeah, I threw it in as a solver as well, but it really helped as a creator too for this person.
Right.
It's kind of fun.
Ooh, yeah, there you go. Colors.
I've done a resistor color code puzzle. I posted it on my Instagram page at 3 Charles Watkins. And actually have been working with some other cachers from around the country and have one of my trackable tags that was just hidden in Mississippi. So I'm going to be creating a puzzle for it and posting it on my Instagram page that Joseph Cody helped me hide. I sent him one and he hid it for me. So I'm going to be publishing a puzzle on my Instagram page, and this is just this is one of those like, oh, I could use this for one of those quick puzzles or whatnot. So it's fun looking at all of the stuff that's available, because in order to find some of this stuff you have to go to more than one website, but this thing is kind of got a lot of everything all rolled up into one, and like I said, it is turning out to just be a phenomenal tool.
Thank you.
We knew about you from the Let's Play a Game series and whatnot. This is like a whole nother layer or two of that onion that that Shrek was talking about. So it's there's a lot here.
There's a lot.
So
awesome. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, people are, again, they can, if they want to send you a note or something, they can at the bottom of the screen there. Of course, if you're going to send a note, buy the man a cup of coffee. I mean, he needs the Java, and
I'm thinking buy him a barbecue plate in Memphis.
Yep, absolutely. We need to do that. Speaking of,
I put my will attend as of right now.
So shameless plug for Worldwide Cache Fest. I put it in the show notes. I put it in the chat room. Put it in the chat room, but we're close to what they call a magical number. I can't really explain why it's a magical number. It's sort of a puzzle-y thing, but we're 18 away from a magical number. So if you happen to be thinking that you're going to go, put in a will attend.
Post that will attend. Absolutely. And
don't
GC code, that GC code for our audio listeners is GC9E5GX. So for our audio listeners out there, get your geocaching app on your mobile device up real quick and just type in the GC code. It's GC9E5GX. Post your will attend, and we hope to see you in Memphis with a plate of barbecue.
Yeah, I want to mention something. And all kidding aside. By the way, I misspoke. It's 17. We're 17 away from magical number. But what I wanted to point out was, and we joked about the Puzzle Boys and all that, but I know that one of the reasons why personally I think it's worth coming to this event, because that was one of the things we talked about Sunday was why go to this event versus some other event. And one of the things that I wanted to point out tonight is that we have a separate academy for puzzles. So we have a puzzle academy that we're going to be doing that day. Even before that day, I think that the guys are going to put their heads together, and they're going to, other than knocking their heads together, they're going to come up with
Not either.
What's that?
I said, not that either.
Not that either. No, not that kind of together. No. They're going to put their brains to work, and they're going to come up with
I remember to pack it.
an awesome, yes. Well, I'll talk to Cheryl. But they're going to come up with, I think, a really cool set of puzzles that, Memphis has a lot of just traditional is a bad word. They have a lot of puzzle caches in Memphis, so that's really cool. But I think for this event, I think you're going to get to see a lot of hands-on type puzzles, not just gadgets, but I think the guys are going to work together. And Charles and I talked a little bit about today about possibilities of things. You know, one of the things that a friend of ours, friend of the show, Lava Buckley, has been involved with was Omega Mart, which is out in Vegas, which is it's a completely immersive, basically a puzzle in a grocery store, but it's got mysteries, it's got puzzles and all that. And so I think that we put something together, and I think the puzzle guys are going to put stuff together that will blow you away. It's going to be immersive. It's going to be some really cool things for that whole week. So, stay tuned. And I think that alone is worth everybody's attending, because that's what we want. We want to be able to go to an event and not just, see everybody, which is wonderful, but also to have some things that we can do that are truly, one of a kind. And so I think you're going to be able to experience that at Cache Fest with Puzzle Academy. Looking forward to that. That's my end of my shameless plug.
I guess I'm looking forward to it now as well.
Oh, I misspoke again. We're down to 15 to the magic number, whatever that magic number is. So,
Darren will.
Oh, I clicked the wrong one. Hang on, let me click on Darren. You do the same thing I was doing.
Yeah, 15,000 kilometers, roughly.
I would take some sort of transportation for that. I don't think I would want to.
That's a long swim.
Yeah,
exactly.
Don't kayak to it. Don't kayak to this cache.
Hey, dude, just get past the sharks and the jellyfish, and you got it made.
Yes, and it can be done. I mean,
getting past the sharks and jellyfish.
That, but also you can traverse those miles, and that would be converted. If you just convert it to a different number.
Yeah.
Oh, let's go with astronomical units then. He'll be there for in a heartbeat.
Light years. It's
parsecs.
Yeah, it's not far if you put it into a light year. It's just if you look on a certain map too. If you put the map out of the ways, Darren, it's just just really small amount of area. So
your finger will cover it.
Yeah, good. That's exactly right. So, all right. Final thoughts from everybody. Let's wrap this puppy up and put a bow on him.
Yeah, I'll go first. Jason, this is a phenomenal tool that you have built. You know, we're just scratching the surface for this. I'd like to just give you an open invite to come back to another show to kind of dive into some of this other stuff that we've just barely scratched the surface on down the road. You know, when we've got time and our schedules all align again. But you know, this is excellent. You know, I mean, I went to your site primarily to play the games, and kind of really didn't look at a whole lot of the rest of this stuff. And shame on me, because I should have, because it would have saved me a lot of work in a lot of places had I done so. You know, so bravo to you, sir, for getting this thing together and maintaining it for the geocaching community. And I hope your website gets a ton of hits, if people still count those things. You know, but I hope the geocaching community that we've been able to help them by exposing them to your tool, and in turn helping you to hopefully get a cup of coffee or two out of this, and
or whatever beverage of choice.
You know, so yeah, well, absolutely. So, and you know, yeah, it's phenomenal. That's
I'm grateful. Thank you.
You know, so thank you,
Tom.
Yeah. When I first, you know, we talked about, okay, he's got this website that does all this stuff, and I thought, okay, it's going to be just like all the others I've seen, maybe just range different. And it didn't take me 5 minutes of looking to find out, no, this has got way, way more stuff. So, yeah, this is awesome. And yeah, we're not asking. You're going to be back on the show.
Okay. Thanks, man.
Well, again, thanks, Jason, so much. I know we talked before, and you're like, I don't know, is this, you know, should I call this or not? And I'm like, dude, you'll be fine. They don't bite much. Yeah, just do it. They'll be fine. Yeah. And it's amazing how time flies. I mean, we just seem like we just started, and we're an hour and a half in. So,
oh wow!
Again, thank you so much. Yeah, you're like, wow, that goes quick.
Yeah, we could have easily been here another hour and a half. And
we go a long time, but we're gonna wrap up. Yeah. But anyway,
I don't have to go to work tomorrow. I can stick around.
That's true. You're off work. You could go spend all. You can go look at all the extra miscellaneous puzzles while we're.
He can go puzzle cache tomorrow.
He can. So
I'm gonna get one.
Again, Jason, wonderful. Thank you, my friend, and we'll be talking again down the road. And
all right,
same to everybody. Thank you so much. Thanks to everybody for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Which let me make a note. Well, patrons will see next Tuesday.
Right, the 24th. Next Tuesday is patron party.
Right,
and then we've got the 31st.
People.
The 31st is Gadget Talk, along with the 7th is Gadget Talk.
Correct.
And then we'll be back on the 14th and the 21st next month.
That is correct. So we'll see everybody on other shows, but Puzzle Talk will be back on the 14th. So good night, everybody.
And if you have a show topic you want covered,
yes,
email it to us.
And that would be at this
Puzzle Talk Podcast at gmail.com.
Website at this location.
Attach a $20 bill to it, and we'll put you at the top of the list.
You're bad. And then need to go out to Puzzle Talk Podcast Instagram. Check out the stuff that Charles is putting out.
That's right.
That is awesome. So, All right. There we go. Good night, everybody.
All right, everybody.